What's going on, YouTube? Before I get into this video, man, y'all make sure y'all go like, comment down below what movie y'all want to see me review next, share this video, and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. But this next movie I'm about to get into, man, the New Edition store. Now, when this movie first came out, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of knew about New Edition. Like, I knew a lot of their songs, like Candy Girl and stuff, but I didn't know them. You gotta understand, see, I was born in the 90s. I'm a 90s baby, so when they kind of was popping in the 80s, like bleeding over into the 90s, but like the New Edition, they heyday was in the 80s, so I didn't really know too much about like their story. Like, everybody know Bobby Brown and Whitney, like how he was just like wow, but I didn't really know about like the members of New Edition. So when I actually watched this movie, it was eye-opening to a lot of things. Like, I mean, I knew they got inspired by the Jackson 5, and I knew they came from humble beginnings, but I thought they was like a boy band that got like put together by like a company and they just try to push them. I didn't know like they really were friends and like they really was like brothers before they even blew up. And when they actually got together, how they tried to give like Ralph a solo deal, and he said, nah, like, I'm not finna do my boys like that. Like, that just show you how much of a stand-up man he was as a little boy. Like, he said, nah, if my boys ain't coming, I don't want no solo deal. Even though they seen solo potential in Ralph, he was just like, nah. But this my thing. All right, when they finally, I mean, I guess you could call it a deal, but when they finally got signed, y'all producing all these hit records, y'all making this label rich. Now, when you watch this movie, I'm gonna give them a pass because this was the 80s. Like, we don't have the knowledge and we don't have the resources. I mean, they didn't have the knowledge and the resources that we have now. So they do get a pass, but there is no way. Like, I understand the mama's frustration on this movie because, bruh, there is no way my child is finna be traveling the entire world. Bro, these boys was in different cities. They on islands. They in London. They flying all over the world, doing tours, rehearsals, practicing, like working their tail off. And we still in the projects. There is no way. Like, I'm pulling my son out the group, and I give it about a month. If I ain't got no check, bro, my son is out this group. Like, I never understood how y'all could be in the projects for weeks, months, years. Like, these boys really, it shows like on the first part of the New Edition story how like they morphed from like little boys to grown men, and they still living in the projects. Like, how did nobody just flash out and just snap on something? Like, where's our money? Even though they was trying and they kept going to like the manager, bro, I would have just pulled my child out the group. There's no way my kid is finna be making y'all this type of money and we in the do you know how dangerous the projects is? And I can turn on my TV and see my child selling out arenas. There is no way. So I'm not gonna lie, my favorite song by New Edition is This the End? Like, the little boy on there that played Ralph, like, when you watch that scene, if you know what scene I'm talking about, like, bro was singing his heart out. Like, he really was singing like he meant that. I don't know if he was lip syncing or if he was for real, but I love watching that part because he was killing that jump. But it's like when they got older, that's when everybody like started to come to their sense. Even though they was still kind of childish, it's like they were just like, bro, we got to do something new. We done blew up, we successful, and we still living in the projects. But that's when you see like they start getting the ball rolling. Like, now we really grown men now. Like, we ain't no little boy. Y'all can't be taking advantage of how y'all used to be. But you know, when the success come and when the egos start like colliding, because like when you getting money, like they say, money don't change you, it just amplifies your character. So I feel like everybody that turned into what they turned into, that's what they already was. Like Bobby Brown, when he just started going crazy, that's who he already was. He just got money, now we can really see it. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't do this, but I understand why Mike Bivens on here, when he was getting cheated out of his money, and he just understood like how shady like the music business was, and he did it to Boys to Men. That's another thing I didn't know on here. I didn't know that he discovered Boys to Men like when he was on the tour bus and they came out there singing. It's just a whole bunch of stuff I didn't know, because I'm not gonna lie, I was not the biggest New Edition fan. So when this came out and everybody was going crazy over it, I was just like, I mean, okay, but it is very interesting. Another thing that I didn't know, I'm super green. I'm embarrassed to even say this. I did not know that Bell Biv DeVoe was like the last 3 members of New Edition. Like when Ralph and Bobby Brown left, and they were just like, man, how about we just start our own group, Bell Biv DeVoe? I said, oh, that's where that come from. Like, bro, when I tell you, I'm just embarrassed to even be saying all this stuff. Like, I was green to the fact. I did not know that much about New Edition, but out of all the members, I'm not gonna lie, Bobby Brown, he did deserve his own like separate story, because come on, like, everybody, even though Ralph was the lead singer, this Bobby Brown, like, that name alone ring bells. And like when he was thinking about like starting his solo career, I'm thinking like, bro, why not? You already got the image, you already known as the crazy one, the wild one. It like sometimes you just gotta know when it's time to branch off. And I think Bobby was feeling like that. Like, even though the group was probably getting tired of his mess, like sometimes, like I feel like he's the David Ruffin of New Edition. Like, he just that wild one. Like, you can't control him. Sometimes you just gotta let that one go. But I ain't gonna lie, when Bobby Brown went solo, he went to the moon. So that's why I'm not gonna cover the Bobby Brown story, because this is about New Edition. But I do feel like he deserved his own separate story out of all of the guys. But the actors that they had playing in this, they picked them perfectly. And I don't know why, but every time I watch this, the dude the little Bobby Brown, I don't know his name, but every time I see him come on my screen, I just start smiling. I don't know why, because it's just like they picked, like, every character, they picked them perfectly. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you watch this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, how they look, how all of them act. Like, it's just like you couldn't have picked nobody better. And like I'm telling you, like the little Bobby Brown and the big Bobby Brown, they both got like the gap like Bobby. They both got the gap like Bobby had. Like, I could tell like they took their time when they put this together. Like, this wasn't no rush process at all. And I could tell they got everybody's point of view, because this ain't like the Temptations. This ain't it's only one of us left and I'ma just tell the story how it went down. No, all these boys still alive, so you gonna have a mixed up, mashed up story, and I feel like you gonna get the real story, because it ain't nobody sugarcoating it or throwing how they wanted to. Like, we don't know like the real NWA story, because Eazy-E ain't here. They could have just put it out how they wanted to. The Temptations, the same thing. With the New Edition, I feel like they got it right, because everybody alive and everybody could put their story into the pot. And they from the actors to the singing scenes to the storyline, they absolutely killed this. And I see why it still be playing on BT. And even though you can find it on YouTube, like part 1, part 2, like, this was a masterpiece how they put this together. But the New Edition story, I'm gone.